What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What an incredible year we had. 2025 has been one of the most difficult years in crypto. But in this video today, I want to talk about what we expect in 2026, what happened so far in 2025, and of course, if there are any silver linings for us to continue to actually work through what is arguably one of the hardest markets you could ever think of. Anything from unlocks to supply and demand to projects failing. There's so many things that we need to cover to be better investors. So I hope you liked the video. First of all, let's begin with the state of play today. Total crypto market cap below 3 trillion, 2.96 trillion. Fear and greed index is now below 30, of course, in fear territory, but we have seen this being stuck at extreme fear for a very, very long time. The true number there could actually be even slightly worse than that. However, there is a bit of optimism, perhaps a Santa rally that got people back into the swing of things. Now, Bitcoin has obviously gone to $90,000 and has taken liquidity. And I did actually put this in my previous post in the Discord, and we are now still way below the kind of this bear flag that we've created. And you can see here, 78, 74 is the level if we need to go down. Having said that, of course, this video is more about looking back at what happened and looking forward to what's going to happen. So let's start here. Now, of course, the strongest cryptocurrencies, you could always see the short term and the long term. And today I'm going to balance out what has been gaining momentum in the top 100 and, of course, whether this will continue into 2026. So 24-hour gainers, of course, Monero, Hyperliquid, Ethereum, Bitcoin, BNB, Bitcoin Cash, Solana, marginally. Of course, since I've generated the report, they have lost some of this gains, but very marginal stuff. 7-day change. Privacy still continues to be strong, and Hyperliquid continues to be strong. But apart from that, if you look at this specifically over the 7 days, again, privacy, Hyperliquid in the top 100, of course, Solana gaining marginal there, still down overall. But this is where it becomes interesting. Year to date, its biggest gainers in the top 300 by market cap: MYX, Zcash, Monero, Alchemist, and Midnight Network or Night. And the worst losers so far have been BTC and ETH on a magnitude of the size that they've lost over the last 12 months. And this is quite significant. Bitcoin just under 6, 7, 8%, and Bitcoin losing around 15% for the year. Now, that obviously then takes you to the overall categories of winners. We have said privacy, Hyperliquid. Of course, there's Cardano with its upgrade, but market sentiment has been consistent in fear most of the time or throughout the whole entire year, apart from that bit in the summer and the bit in October. So market Bitcoin dominance, 59%, and that is where we are at the moment. Snapshot at the time of this research was 3 trillion, but we have since come down under 3 trillion. Interesting to note that ETF outflows are positive today for Ethereum, right? They are positive today for Ethereum and slightly negative for Bitcoin, but it's good to see Ethereum flows being in the positive. However, we are net minus 57 million when you consider that. Yesterday was a total outflow of 234 million and 257 million the day up before that. So the only positive day we had a massive Bitcoin ETF inflows was the 17th. The picture still looks very much marginal here. Very, very, imbalanced, but overall, a couple of spikes. Predominantly, it's been ETF outflows throughout this last quarter of this year. And I'm not surprised because of tech rotation, because of many other things that are linked to that. Overall, the market is down, of course. We have taken liquidity. Bitcoin, Ethereum below 3,000. We should have really technically, when you see Ethereum holding over $3,300. That's when you flip bullish. Solana stuck up 124, and nothing is going to change anytime soon on that. Now, interestingly, when you look at the categories, right? So stable coins, exchange-based tokens, and decentralized finance, all down. RWA is still very, very kind of tiny, $53 billion in RWA, where you have $6 billion in GameFi. Layer 2s have been actually the worst performing sector throughout this last 12 months and in the entirety of this bull cycle. I think Layer 2s are a complete mess. And unless something goes on a crazy run like, I don't know, like a linear, and I can't see that happening, but you know, you never know, right? Or the base token launching and the market going by hype. I think with the upgrades of Ethereum, we could clearly say, or Santa says, that layer 2 projects are pretty much done and dusted. I don't see the need for an L2 unless it's a base or an equivalent. You know, you've got Arbitrum, Optimism, you know, Linear, Blast, which is fallen off. So layer 2s are not an area that I'll be investing my money in. And if anything happens in layer 2, well, base is probably the best place to be looking at. But where you need to be paying attention is RWA, decentralized AI or artificial intelligence here, and GameFi. I think these are the three distinctive categories, and I'll put DePIN and AI together. I mean, I don't even know why they're separate categories, to be honest. So that will be something to watch. I have noticed gaming making significant moves, albeit selective accumulation by whales, and I'm DCAing into gaming projects, notably L1s, and in particularly, I'm looking at Beam as a crazy printer. What narrative you need to be aware about is this entire new category called TimeFi. Now, this is 2026 should see a massive development here. The agentic neobank, of course, depositing, delegate and earn. This is completely, Piverse is the first mover here. We have seen the X402 projects as well on base that have really become quite prominent. This is an area that I'll be watching. Now, this particular project has done very well. 24-hour move here is about, I think 15-20% it moved, but powered by X402 base, PyWrap tokens, agents as account holders. So again, like I said, I'm not really talking about Piverse because Piverse has ridiculous inflation. For those of you who know, fully diluted here is 473 million. Crazy trading volume, but look, circulating as opposed to total and max supply is pretty ridiculous. Chart looks very healthy because it is low float, high FDV. Now, of course, it requires more research for people to understand if they want to play this game. However, I am staying away from crazy tokenomics because we are at a time when potentially the cycle could be over. So you don't want to be holding something that is going to have crazy amount of inflation in a bear market. Having said that, I would definitely investigate. This is a sector that we can look forward to in 2026. X402, there are other projects as well, particularly on base, and that is a category and a niche that's just developing right now. Okay. So what else can we look forward to in 2026? Well, the first thing here is, for me, the key that was the AI16C State of Crypto report for 2025. I think this gave me a lot of pointers. I have shared this with the family previously. And what we're seeing here, we had the ICO boom, DeFi summer, NFT surge, Bitcoin ETFs was the driver of the cycle, meme mania 2023 to 2024. And of course, now we've shifted to regulation, stable coins, and now we're starting to see agentic payment, and whether that takes over the market in terms of DeFi, it remains to be seen. But stable coin, I'm going to dedicate an entire section in the Discord to stable coin discussions and projects, because I do believe crypto in general is behind the evolution and development that's happening in the space. So there are projects that will possibly make crazy returns that fit the stablecoin narratives, and those projects are some, you know, they're going to have adoption. So that's something to look at. Share of global market in 2025. This is a Bitcoin dominated cycle so far, and in 2025 there's absolutely stable coins are second, and I'm sure people understand that. So gold, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Google, silver, Amazon, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is 11 times smaller, or 8 times smaller now, but that is a catch-up trade when we talk about this global economic outlook for 2026, and in particular tailwinds. You could see how small we are as an industry in comparison to the more established industries out there. Macro factors, they have absolutely been massive. Of course, the job market still is where we need to look at going into 2026. Crypto growth, you know, Australia, 74% of web traffic per 1 billion people is crypto, right? South Korea, United Kingdom, Canada, US, Spain, Germany. Not surprised to see the domination by those nations when it comes to the participation of the crypto market. Crypto is a multi-chain with Ethereum and L2, Solana, Bitcoin. Of course, Base is the one that I'm excited about the most, and top blockchain by open source developers. I mean, apart from Ethereum here, Solana absolutely takes the biscuit, but look at Base, you know, Base just behind and ahead of the likes of Polygon and all of these other established. I think we saw the death of Polygon, Matic, and that whole movement as well. We estimate the number of monthly active users in crypto. Now, we talked about this. Two really surprising projects here are Say and Near Protocol, and I'm going to continue to analyze that in 2025. The year of institutional adoption. Now, if you don't understand this is crazy. Like this has been the year where we had the likes of Circle, Robinhood, Stripe, Visa, PayPal, MasterCard, Stanley, Shopify, Revolut, and we saw a lot of that in the base presentation. So overall, institutional capital will flow into. We will have this global macro liquidity tailwind, in my opinion, and massive growth here in 2026. And that is what I'm looking for when it comes to key factors to remain bullish and to keep accumulating quality when it comes to the projects that I buy in the market. And again, if there's any significant pumps, 100,000, I'll be selling a ton of shit coins and focusing the attention and energy into good cryptocurrencies that have an outlook for 5-10 years, not the usual suspects that pump and dump. I will still play that game, but of course, if I need to trade something, get in, hold, couple of good candles, get out, and off you go. So PMI mostly remains positive, and of course we'll talk about the macro in more detail. Having said that, in my opinion, 2025 was the year that really wasn't a bull market at all, based on the turbulence. We almost saw a mid-year kind of outlook, midterm outlook for 2025, as opposed to the real midterm that's coming up this year, which has historically been a little bit more negative. But in my opinion, I'm looking at the Eurozone. I'm looking at the China's M2 supply 2x's that of America, considering 25 years ago, the entire China GDP was $1.8 trillion. And it's now their M2 alone is $45 trillion. So I'm expecting this money to enter the market. And I have good authority in terms of the kind of reports I'm looking at. So with the macro tailwind, I think state of crypto to 2026 will be very, very positive. I think we'll also see a lot of pressure, capitulation. Many projects will die. Many teams will go under. But one thing that will remain, crypto in 2026, 2027 potentially, or the rest of this Trump administration has one opportunity to make us millionaires. And I'm sure a lot of people will make good money. However, it's all about surviving, not really making money for most of, like crypto can go for months, even years, your portfolio not doing much. And then that explosion you get of 2 to 3 weeks will change the rest of your life. So macro tailwind is coming, in my opinion. Big major reports out in terms of all of the big consulting firms like S&P and alike. So yeah, look forward to a better 2026. Cheers to you all. Thank you for tuning into the channel. And of course, this has been my State of Crypto report, the year where we saw institutions, the year when Trump came back and literally nuked the markets, the year of tariffs. However, money supply and other key indicators globally should give us a macro tailwind. Still very risky. Only afford, spend or invest what you can afford to lose. Nothing I say is financial advice, of course, but I wish you, your family, and everyone else in your life happy 2026, guys. Take care. Let me know your comments in the down below. Share the video. Of course, always follow the channel. 74% of people that watch these videos don't actually follow the channel. So gracias if you follow the channel. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely Christmas.